Hey everybody, welcome to episode 7 of the Honored Ones podcast. This is a very special episode for a few reasons. The very first reason is that, did you know, BR, that most podcasts don't survive past the 7th episode?
I didn't know that until you told me, no.
So I was actually pretty nervous about whether or not we even reach 7, but here we are. As long as we don't beef during this podcast and until we shoot episode 8 next week, I think we got a 300 episode plus. We could go longer than One Piece, man. I'm just saying.
Longer than One Piece. That's quite the statement, but we shall see. We did make it over the hump of episode 7, so that basically means we can go on forever.
I'm gonna knock on wood. I am paranoid. So I want to do a few things this episode. The very first thing is I want to do some personal IRL fun stuff, and then we can get on to the main topics for this episode, where we're gonna talk about basically a year in review for both of our channels, what we thought about our performances, milestones we hit, milestones we didn't hit, what we wish we could do better next year, New Year's resolution, and all of that. So if you want to see all of that, please stick around for the episode. And just to get it out of the way right here, guys, thank you so much for all the love you've shown us in the last 2 episodes. We're really trying to hit 500 subscribers, which I have now been informed is actually the new milestone for getting the community tab. Apparently YouTube changed the rules, so I'm sorry for saying 1,000 or something, but yeah, did you know that YouTube lowered that? That's pretty cool.
From 1K to 500. Yeah. I heard, I think, from one of my friends, but it's not something I just off the top of my head.
Yeah, me either. So I was very surprised when we got a comment on, I think it was the Jujutsu Kaisen episode, telling us that. So I was like, "Well, that's pretty cool of YouTube. It's very rare." Speaking of YouTube, really, really quickly, I found a Chrome extension that re-enables the dislike counter, and feels good, man. I didn't realize how much I missed it.
You missed the dislike button.
Well, I just like seeing the ratio, because it if I'm looking up a tutorial about something, or if I'm really trying to see if a video is useful or controversial, I just go by the dislike ratio. So having that taken away just kind of leaves a lot of guesswork, and it's a massive waste of time to do it for every single video you watch, you know what I mean? And I'm going to move on to my next 2 topics, which are, hey, buddy, how was your Christmas? Merry belated Christmas and all that.
Yeah, Merry belated Christmas. It was pretty good. I had a lot of fun. I can't really say much else besides that. I think it was a typical fun Christmas for me. How about you?
Pretty good, actually. You know what I did? Because I don't really celebrate Christmas like that. I just saw my friends, and they don't celebrate it like that either. We just hung out, and it was really cool. I actually saw No Way Home. Yeah, I want to talk about that. Yo, what the fuck, dude? That movie was so good.
Yeah, it was really good.
I've seen some wild takes on Twitter though. They're like, "Oh, it was mid," or this or that. I'm like, "Yo, what?" There's nothing that can please these people, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think for some people, it's just not the type of Spider-Man they wanted, which is whatever. I'm satisfied, so I don't really care about their opinions. And 2, some people are just being contrarians. They're everybody's liking the movie, so I'm going to be different. I'm going to stand out and not like it. Not everybody's like that. I know there's some people that have genuine issues with it, which is fine. I have some issues with it myself in terms of plot contrivances and things like that. So one of them is spoiler warning for No Way Home. If you haven't seen it this late, go watch it, and then come back to this. But basically Ned being able to use magic so quickly in comparison to a genius like Doctor Strange. It's not a movie breaking experience, but it is okay, that's super contrived for the sake of what we need to happen in this movie, which is fine, I guess. Stories need to make those compromises. That's cool. The CG in certain places was pretty but I'm not typically one to complain about visuals like that. I mean, I think there were a few minor things that kind of threw me off, but overall the movie experience was pretty good. How do you feel about it overall?
I was actually thinking the Ned thing didn't bother me as much as I thought it would, because it wasn't to the extent that he could use spells or something. It was just the sling ring, and I thought it was used in a fine way. And what I found really, really, really interesting about the CGI thing that you mentioned, I tweeted this out, but it was mad late, so I don't think anybody saw it. I said, why the fuck does the homemade suit look more CGI than all the nanotech suits?
Yeah, I honestly really like that. You talk about the suit he wore at the end of the movie. I like that suit probably the most out of any MCU suit he's worn, but it does look super CG. Yeah, I mean overall good movie. I don't have too many complaints to it that like to me in the grand scheme of things matter, but it wasn't a perfect movie. I still have I think Spider-Man 2 above it in terms of how much I enjoyed Spider-Man movies. And honestly, it's not my favorite Spider-Man movie, but like that doesn't really mean much. I think it's a good movie regardless. So I enjoyed it, which is all I could really
Is it
ask
top 3
for
Spider-Man movies though?
from a movie. Probably top three, maybe top four. I'm not sure. I'd have to like I haven't actually like sat down and ranked the movies in my head. I just know Spider-Man 2 is above it. Um,
Hmm.
I doubted the MCU Spider-Man. At least this movie was going to be able to top Spider-Man 2. I honestly think the setup for the future trilogy of the MCU
Yes,
Spider-Man
sir.
movies can surpass Spider-Man 2. But right now, it just
You
hasn't
know,
for me.
I can't help but feel like Marvel went so like almost too aggressively in this whole one more day thing that they went with in the end. Because like you know, you can tell that Marvel made this decision in kind of like response to all the criticisms that people had of MCU Spider-Man. You know, that he was handed everything he ever had. He was like gifted all this shit by like a famous billionaire superhero, and he basically never had to struggle the same way Spider-Man always is like synonymous with like struggling. And you
Hmm.
know, I wasn't necessarily one of those people all the way. I did have my kind of like ugh moments with it, but it wasn't something offensive to me, right? I didn't mind it because it was like, oh, I've seen God. I whenever you see Peter Parker not in the MCU, he is like broke. He's being the photographer.
Yeah.
His life sucks.
So you were cool with like him not being necessarily that in the MCU?
Yeah. So no, hold on. I was happy with um Tom Holland's like MCU Spider-Man, right? I liked the version of him that had the nanosuit, that had the Tony Stark hookup, that had like all of these things. It was nice seeing Spider-Man in a more like team environment because yeah, Spider-Man's a solo act. He's almost always has been. And like the
Hmm.
dude's rogues gallery is like almost as big as like the totality of all the Avengers, you know what I mean? Cuz like if you're
Yeah.
like with the exception of like maybe Iron Man, if you're like a Captain America villain, you're an Avengers villain, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Spider it was nice seeing Spider-Man's rogues gallery you know, be there, be fleshed out. And the definite highlight for me with that is Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, because like you know, dude, Green Goblin is like his fucking Joker. It's his arch enemy, right? So he has to matter more than the
Hmm.
other villains, as much as I don't like saying it like that. So it was nice seeing that like the Green Goblin is always going to be like the devil to Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like no matter who
Yeah.
it is, like it was so bizarre, like how because Willem Dafoe killed it. Like I'll just be real, he
Yeah.
murdered that role. It's like he never missed a beat, right? In like the 12 or 13 years since he's played the Green Goblin, or however long it's actually been. Fuck me. Um,
Hmm.
so it was amazing seeing like that aspect happen to MCU Spider-Man, who I'll admit, dude, this movie had me like thinking, wow, he did have it so easy for a while there. Because like when Norman and all these other villains came, they came for like his life. You know what I mean? Like the
Hmm.
closest thing that's happened to this was like Vulture, but even then, dude, it was like
Hmm.
pretty PG-13. But these guys were like they came for blood.
Yeah, yeah, Goblin especially was just so much more aggressive. And like so like Vulture was willing to kill Spider-Man, but he did give him an out. He was like, "Yo, if you just leave me alone, I won't kill you. I won't even
Yeah,
hurt you," right? Mysterio was kind of like he just wanted to like fill up his own ego and get like Stark's tech back, and he was like, but obviously Peter had to interfere, and that's when he was willing to kill him, right? But like Goblin like actively was seeking to
yeah.
murder him, right? Like he wasn't there was no other option. And then he was able to come very close to doing it too. Like he was eating Spider-Man like full
I know.
strength
Dude, can we
punches,
talk about that,
like
bro?
suplex him through an entire
He was
building. Like
bullying
he was
him.
bullying
Like
him.
yes, bro. Dude, can we talk about the power scaling of these Spider-Man real quick? Because like this shit blew my mind. I like not a lot of people know this, but Spider-Man is like insanely strong, right? He has to pull his punches most of the time,
Mhm,
otherwise he'd like kill everybody that he fought, right?
mhm.
And that's one of the things that I praised about the MCU, because they actually got Spider-Man's strength down, because I think it's something that is kind of forgotten when people write Spider-Man. They're like, oh, he's just some like scrawny kid who's like really agile, right? But like people forget he was like, at one point he was the fourth strongest Marvel character, before they added all this shit. Like this was like back in the 60s or 70s, but still, right? He was crazy powerful. And especially in that scene, like my I think favorite Tom Holland Spider-Man scene from like the collaborative movies was in Civil War, where he like caught Winter Soldier's arm, and that resonated with me so hard. And I don't know if you watched Falcon and Winter Soldier on Disney Plus.
I didn't actually, but I do know how the plot goes. I just don't know the
basically it's like a super soldier like extravaganza. Everybody's a super soldier. It's like Oprah was handing out serum at the door. But essentially, I was like watching this and I was like, man, Spider-Man could murder all of these people like he was like ripping through paper. like it wouldn't even it would not be like, it wouldn't make any more of a difference if it was like a super soldier or if it was like a normal person. It would be the same to him.
Yeah, because like he catches Bucky's arm and it's not like it's this super difficult thing. He's like making a joke when he does it. He's like, cool metal arm. It's like, bro, that is a person who gave Captain America a run for his money in terms of strength, and you're just like casually making him look like a little baby.
Bro, he did that to Falcon too.
So for that same Spider-Man to go on and like look super aggressive when he's punching Green Goblin in the face over and over, and he's just smiling, right? And then he gets like bombed, like thrown through like 6 floors of an apartment complex or whatever. It's just like, wow, he got like very, very humble in that fight.
And that was like, I always like, I don't know how you interpreted that scene, but for me, I was like, man, imagine being like Peter Parker, like in the MCU. You're so like used to telling yourself, oh, I gotta hold back, I can't like go all out, otherwise I'd kill everybody, right? And you're like aware of your own strength to some degree. And then there's this guy, right? And you're like pounding him, like you want, like you're giving it all you got, and you know how strong you are, and he's just eating like one punch after another, and he is just laughing at you the whole time, and then he proceeds to kick your ass through 7 floors, bro. Like you get like he folded you like laundry, basically, and
And that has to be terrifying, honestly, because you know that there's not very many people on the planet that can survive what you just dealt out. And not only did he survive it, he's smiling while you're doing it.
This makes me appreciate how strong Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man actually was, because I was thinking back to those movies, and I was like, man, I don't remember Green Goblin being like this strong, right? And then I was like, oh yeah, that's because he was fighting Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, who was like proportional. And bro, that was like a fair fight. And you could definitely see that when he went to kill Goblin with the glider, and Tobey Maguire looked at him like he was an idiot. Like, it was like, what the fuck are you doing? Because he was like pressing on him, and he almost like looked like he was laughing. I was like, damn, so this means Maguire's Spider-Man is like strongest Spider-Man confirmed?
I mean, he did catch like Tom Holland's bloodlusted attack to kill Goblin, and he kind of did it casually.
And he even resisted,
Even if you say he's not the strongest, he's at least stronger than Tom. Like, if you want to throw it up in the air, like Andrew and him are like pitched battle because of experience, whatever. But like Tom Holland was enraged in trying to kill the Goblin.
He was even pushing, like
he appears out of nowhere, just stops it.
Dude, like he didn't stop like pushing, trying to get past Tobey. And Tobey was like, yo, you didn't like stop right away. He was like, no, I'm doubling down. I was like, by the way, a moment that I really appreciated, it wasn't just like an instant stop and then realization. He kept trying to go.
Just he simply put did not care. He wanted blood.
Really love that moment for MCU Spider-Man again. Like, I love so much about how they characterized all the Spider-Man in this movie, but especially Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I think he got like a lot of development, and I especially can't wait to see how he plays comic accurate Spider-Man. Because I think they did as much with the MCU Spider-Man as they could have, because Iron Man dying is like it's hard to come back from that because their characters were just so intertwined. So I think stripping him down to like be Spider-Man and not like the billionaire like Iron Man successor is a good way to go about that. What else? So just to get back to this power scale thing real quick, because I'm not totally over it. So in my head I was like doing the math, and I was like, if this Goblin can just like eat punch after punch after punch after punch after punch and like all this shit from like Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Lord knows what he could do against like Captain America. Like fuck, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Captain America is definitely not like you're gonna have to give him Thor's
Yeah,
hammer on
bro.
that one because he's not just fighting him by himself. Like it's just not
Like you can
happening.
give Captain America the combat experience advantage and the shield advantage. There is
Yeah,
he Green Goblin isn't an amateur, right? Like like he's like still thinking like 3 or 4 moves ahead. Like with Strange implanting the bomb in the box, like kind of in the case of Strange
yeah.
retrieving it right away. Like he's like he is not a gonna hold back.
He's not an idiot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely not an idiot, and he's not gonna hold back. So I really love that detail,
Mhm.
and to just see this kind of like upper street level, uh, or like lower city level, depending on how you scale characters like Spider-Man and his rogues gallery. Because some of his rogues gallery is like way too OP for Spider-Man, in my opinion. Like Hydro Man and Sandman and Electro are like, give this guy a break. He doesn't need 3 like elemental monsters on like his daily rotation,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, they're very difficult because like they're just very like slippery to fight. Like Sandman is just hard to damage conventionally. Electro touching him is problematic, and Hydro Man's water. So how are you gonna
Yeah.
hurt that, right? He has to creatively deal with them. He can't just like punch them to beat them or
Yeah,
whatever.
so it was really interesting seeing how they like use their scientific knowledge because I think that's also another aspect of Peter Parker that gets ignored is like he's also one of the smartest characters in Marvel and
Yeah,
God, it made me really appreciate that like the MCU people like did their homework when it comes to all these characters like first of all from like the canon of their own movies and like also from the comics, right? It was really cool seeing stuff like a Peter and the other Peters all knowing like how to do science stuff, like how to make anti-serums, how to make cures for all these
yeah,
people, like either through experience or their own knowledge or whatever. And it shows off a little bit of Peter Parker's like brainy side, which I really appreciate. And then the other thing that made me really appreciate it was that do you know how you know the joke with Spider-Man villains is that they're always all like brilliant scientists that like got messed up because of their own experiments. Yeah, and
yeah,
I appreciated that they like acknowledge that. They're like, yeah, Doctor X, Y, and Z fell into a vat of ABC, and that's how he got his powers.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
even Max was like an electrical engineer of some kind, from what I remember.
Yeah, he in his like Amazing Spider-Man, he's portrayed to be very intelligent, right? He's just like socially anxious or whatever. Like he's a smart person.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that.
Just one detail since we're talking about like how the Spider-Man interacted is when all of their spider sense went off at the same time when the bomb was in Doctor Strange's cube was really cool. I like that shot where it goes down the line of the Spider-Man and then Tom has to try to save MJ. Goblin like hits him away, and then Andrew has to save her, and that was a really cool moment for Andrew. Um, I think it was a very like redeeming moment for his Spider Man.
So speaking of like highlights for Andrew Garfield, right? I think he was definitely like the showstopper in the entire movie because especially that scene where he caught MJ, I was like bawling my eyes out, dude. That one hit me like right in the heart.
Yeah, right. Because he has like this PTSD from missing. Dude, that
Yeah,
was
like
so
the
dope. That was a very very
it's
dope scene.
amazing acting by Andrew Garfield, and I think one of the biggest like sentiments I've heard ever since this movie came out is like, oh my god, I was way too harsh on Andrew Garfield back in the day, and like he definitely deserves to be a Spider-Man, and his movies like deserve like to exist basically, and there's a call for an Andrew Garfield renaissance with Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think people. So a lot of people have been like, I guess more recently when the movie came out, were praising Andrew Garfield and stuff like that, and people were saying like everybody's switching up on him. But I feel like most sensible people like agreed that Andrew Garfield was a great
Hmm.
actor, agreed that he played Spider Man really well. The only problem was, at least the second movie was very bad. Like it was just a very bad movie that a good actor was stuck in. To me, I think yeah, I think all of the different Spider-Man movies have their things that are good to them. To me, Tobey has the best complete trilogy. I think like the MCU has a better final or like final part piece to a trilogy. But to me, the 1 and 2 combo of the original Spider-Man movies just can't be beat by anything that we've seen in live action so far. Um, Andrew Garfield's movies had Andrew Garfield, and he's the best actor out of the three of them, in my
Yes,
personal
sir.
opinion. And then the MCU is kind of like a mix. Like it's not the best movies to me, but they are like solid. They're just very like middle ground in that sense.
How did you feel about Aunt May's death and her being the great power, great responsibility person?
I'm completely fine with it. I don't. To me, that's a retcon that is. It is not irrelevant is not the right word I'm trying to find here. It is minuscule. I don't think it's very offensive either, because the thing is, right, Aunt May, when we're speaking realistically, is more of a character than Uncle Ben really
True.
is, right? Like Uncle Ben. Now, this isn't to downplay Uncle Ben, right? He's very integral to Peter's like development and growth. But Uncle Ben is just that, right? Like as opposed to Aunt May, we just don't see very much of him, which is fine. That's not his purpose. But I think it's fine to pass that like the mantle of giving that responsibility to Peter to a character that was always there for him. To me, she just basically is at least in the MCU, she's just a slightly like she takes on the role of Uncle Ben, but we're just more invested in her because she's been here for 3 movies. To me, that's all it is. Like she carries the same mantle. She cares for Peter the same way that an Uncle Ben would. Like to me, there's no real issue unless you're just hung up on the name of Uncle Ben being the one who says it to him. If you're not, I don't really see why you'd have a problem with
Yeah,
it
me
personally.
either. And I will say that like there is one strong moral disagreement that I really had with the movie, but it was just a pure philosophy thing, not a quality thing. And that was like I 100% agree with Peter's line of thinking in the first half of the movie where he was like, that's not really my problem, etc., etc. And then Aunt May kind of
Yeah.
like, fuck it, I'll say it. I agree with Goblin. She did kind of rope him into her own weird moral crusade. So,
I
like,
mean,
that kind of got in the way.
yeah.
Because, like, bro, Peter could have had everything he wanted had he, A, been more clear at the start with Strange's spell, like, just straight up, and B, had he just been like, yeah, fuck, just send them back. And if they're literally fated to die, then it is what it is. Because what really bugged me about that part, and I'm calling it a plot hole all the way. Like this is by far the biggest plot hole in the movie when they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna cure them instead of sending them back to die or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all, and it'd be super nice to like rehabilitate them because I know like that's like a huge part for Spider-Man villains and even Batman villains to some degree is rehabilitating the Rogues Gallery because they're just kind of like insane by accident. At the same time, I'm like these events, like these villains were like not taken from the same point in time. They were taken from a different point in time than the Spider-Men were. So the biggest example is like Doc Ock and Tobey Maguire Peter, who's like way older, and then that Doc Ock is from Spider-Man 2 apparently, right? From that moment where he has him tied up. And I'm like, but if you doesn't that change the timeline? So
I think what would happen is just the villains are at least from what I assume they're placed back um where like the Spider-Man now are. So like because if you think about it, like um I'm guessing that there's just it kind of depends on how you look at the multiverse. Like maybe there's a universe where they're not like where everything is how we view it, but now they're kind of like pulled out of that and put into like a different, somewhat altered one. I don't know. To me, I mean, I get what you mean for the Aunt May like roping Peter into that ideology, um, and I do think that it had just been much simpler to kind of like wash hands of them. But I don't think you can have like a true Spider-Man movie where you don't have
lose
Peter
everything.
face hardship because well, not even lose everything, but where you don't have him face a lot of
Bro,
hardship because of his like
that
absurd levels of like dedication to doing the right
bro
thing, right? Because they were fated to die, but like it's not like it was like this singular objective thing. It was like that's how they were going to if nobody interfered. But you could obviously
No, I
interfere
more
with
meant
that.
like from a cause and event standpoint, like future Tobey Maguire, like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is from the future timeline of the Raimi universe, right? And that Dr. Otto was from the Spider-Man 2 event in time. So if he was to go back to that event in time, right, the Tobey Maguire he'd be facing is from that timeline, not the older Tobey Maguire who's like well into his future. So do they go back to like different realities, or like how does that work?
I'm not
But
sure at all, but I mean, I think the implications is that they're better off for it, which I think is I'm fine enough with knowing that. The specifics aren't not too relevant to me personally. I can understand if they are for some people, but to me, I can be satisfied with the conclusion being basically they are sent back better off than when they came here, um, at least more mentally stable than when they came here, right? Um, and however you want to explain that or rationalize it is perfectly fine with me.
I mean,
Peter messing up, like messing up Doctor Strange spell. That's probably my favorite reason for like a movie starting out of his three movies, right? Because if you think about it, every other reason a villain doesn't like him is not because of him. He didn't mess up those. Like Vulture is Vulture because of Tony, and the Avengers messed everything up, right? Mysterio is Mysterio because of Tony's like narcissism early on, and whatever. But this is the only movie out of this trilogy where the reason things go wrong is because Spider-Man was very greedy, and he was like somewhat like idiotic and like I mean, I guess the best way to put it is he was greedy, right? He wanted the best of both
can
worlds.
I
Like he's like no consequences to previous
can
actions.
I add on?
With all the benefits, basically.
So
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
think you're right right on the money with what you're saying, but I would exchange the word greedy for childish.
I think that's
Yeah,
fine
because
as
a
well.
lot of MCU Spider-Man's problems have to do with him not being allowed to have his own like experiences. What I really enjoyed was that despite Peter being in a situation where he's collaborating with other superheroes, which is something that I did praise earlier in this podcast, and I still stick by it. I do think it did lend a lot of it hindered his growth compared to like how he could have like learned on his own, and I think like his solo movies went a really long way in explaining to like what degree like being Iron Man's buddy like impacted him, right? So the biggest example isn't
Mhm.
actually Vulture, it's Mysterio, because his level of naivete with Mysterio was like almost insulting. You know what I mean? Like he was so trusting. He just took
Yeah.
off his mask in a random country in like a bar. Mysterio was like in full costume too, and he Peter like he had no way of knowing all these people were like actors or whatever, right? But he was like, yeah, it's
Mhm.
totally safe to just take off this mask. No, never mind that everybody just saw me web slinging a little bit before, fighting all these like elemental water fire people. I'll just fuck it. And then he gave him what's her name, Edith. Like
Yeah.
like like
And I think you can argue that like that's part of like his arc. Like Tony kind of conditioned him to just trust these people because the last like adult figure in his life was super
mhm.
trustworthy, and he's kind of those expectations kind of falsely led him astray, and that's fine. I just personally am much more of a fan of a Peter that matures and like grows because of his own like it's much more human and it's much more relatable for like Peter to have to deal with the repercussions of his actions because he was dumb or he was childish or he was greedy or whatever adjective you want to use to describe like his personality. Um, but it was his fault, and I think him cleaning up his own mess and like having some of his life ruined because of that is like the most Spider-Man you can get. So to me, I even though it's like frustrating. Like, why were you so greedy about this stuff? It's understandable, right? Because he's a
Mhm.
kid. Like what, 17, 18? He doesn't want his life ruined forever or his friends ruined forever just because of one mistake. So he tries to be greedy and have it all, right? And that's where Goblin's like little quote of like, strong enough to have it all, too weak to take it, and things like that. So I thought that was pretty dope.
It's pretty interesting that the events of No Way Home take place a week after what's the second movie called? Far
Far
From
from
Home,
home.
yeah.
From home.
So, just imagine like the span of 2 or 3 weeks, like all of this happening on top of you getting blipped back, like just wild stuff. And
Yeah.
one of the things that like really hit another chord with me, not a crying moment, but just like definitely a wow, that's like I feel like the character's pain moment was when Peter ended up being homeless at the end of the fucking movie. like homeless in the sense of like he's all alone and he's like 16 or 17 and he has like no friends even.
Yeah, no friends. He's broke. He's not going to be able to graduate with his friends because we see like the GED book in his boxes.
Like any mention of Peter Parker was gone, so he never went to Midtown.
Yep. So basically, he's going to be going to college, like And honestly, I think that's why I'm so excited for like the next trilogy, because I feel like it's going to be able to be super super fresh about what's happening. He's going to be back to being like a loser in the sense that like he's socially just inept because of his lack of like friends and companions. He's going to be having money problems. He's going to be having to tackle that on top of being Spider-Man. I'm just interested in seeing.
Sometimes, I feel like there's this like sick cosmic joke with Spider-Man that even like we in reality kind of take part in that like it's always like Peter Parker is punished for like existing and doubly for being Spider-Man, right? Like anytime he like the status quo has changed. I think it was like a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. It was after the Superior Spider-Man run, which I loved, by the way. Loved the Superior Spider-Man run. I don't know if you read it, but you should. It's amazing. Love that run. But afterwards, they had to bring back Peter Parker because this was Superior. Do you know what Superior Spider-Man is?
Yeah, when Doc Ock took over his body.
So, just like for anybody in the audience who doesn't know, Superior Spider-Man was a run where Doc Ock took over Peter's body and he became the new Spider-Man. It's really cool. You should check it out. And then, obviously, they have to bring back Peter Parker, right? Because it's comics. That's how it works. You do like a big change and then you reset every time. That's a whole other issue for a different day. But when they brought back Peter Parker, they had to deal with the fact that Otto fixed his entire life. Bro, Otto was the best Spider-Man, no fucking cap. Like, he embarrassed Peter with how good he was. Like, this guy went back and got Peter his his higher degrees. He went back, he got him a girlfriend. He went back, he got him a $1 billion company. And like he basically made New York way safer than Peter ever could by building like a literal spider robot army to just like kind of take care of crime and inform it. Like he killed it living Peter Parker's life, right? Like it really goes to show just how self-defeating Peter actually is, because almost the second he came back, he just undid all of Octavius's like hard work, dude. His girlfriend gone, house gone, Parker Industries gone.
Yeah, I think that's a case of his own morality. Like, he's so on the up and up that it's very hard to get ahead in that sense, right?
But like, dude,
like Doc Ock does turn into a character who is more moral than he was previously, right? Via Spider-Man's influence. Still not Peter, right? He still doesn't have the same like level of obligation to like this like concept of responsibility that Peter feels he does.
And especially when it comes to like the no killing, the holding back rule, shit like that. I'll never top 10 like greatest Spider-Man moments is when Doc Ock in Peter's body accidentally punched Scorpion's jaw clean off because he didn't know Peter was holding back.
That was pretty wild. He was like, yeah, he's been holding back the entire time.
Yeah, he was like,
knew.
Oh, he was holding back. Oh my god, he's been holding back. In universe, they always find a way to default him back to that state, no matter where he's at in his life. And even in movies, they were like, yeah, fuck it. You guys, all the fans were right. Peter Parker is at his best when he's broke, hopeless, and alone. That is who Spider-Man is. I'm like, yo, you guys don't have to punish him.
That's just who he is. It's like it's almost like a prerequisite to being Spider-Man. Like as needed, it's almost like to be Spider-Man, you need Spider-Man powers and you need to have a horrible life.
The only person who is more self-destructive at being a superhero is Daredevil. Like, that's how low the bar is for Spider-Man.
I haven't read very many Daredevil comic books. Is he that he's on that Spider-Man level?
Yes, he is. And like the main reason why is because like he is not able to keep his secret identity. Because, like, Spider-Man's secret identity is, like, it's, like, a well-guarded secret even in comics, right? It's, like, super, like, not a lot of people know it. And the people that do are, like, very tight-lipped about it, you know? And when it is revealed, it's, like, a huge thing. So, with that being said, Daredevil gets exposed as, like, Matt Murdock gets exposed as being Daredevil, right? he's so bad at it, but he just refuses to submit that, like, in trials and stuff, these people will be like, hey, man, can you, like, answer for all your Daredevil antics? And he's like, guys, why do you keep saying I'm Daredevil? I'm clearly blind. It's basically like when Peter got his identity revealed, but like less people gave a shit and they were just more annoyed that he wasn't admitting it. So Matt, despite that, just keeps putting his fucking body on the line and gets like beat the fuck up every single time, and he's just like, no guys, I'm not Daredevil. And then he'll come into trial the next day with like bandages all over his face and shit, and they're like, hey Matt, fighting crime last night, and he was like, no, I'm blind, sir. I fell down the stairs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess being blind is a pretty good excuse for being a superhero. Like, most people wouldn't assume you'd be able to do much superheroing, but yeah, I mean, if you're caught red-handed, like
there's this,
not much you can do about it.
One comic panel, I'll send it to you later, hopefully if I remember, but it was like Matt Murdock's spiral of like fighting crime like took over his life so much to the point that Peter Parker had to go and like do an intervention for him to get him to chill out. He was like, hey man, you're doing too much.
I do remember seeing that. I didn't read that comic, but I remember like Peter being like, dude, you're done. Like,
you're doing take a break.
And I was like, hey, yo,
how bad do you have to be for Peter Parker to be like, yo, you need to relax?
Yeah, right. How he, like, you have to be doing something in terms of like your life wrong. If Peter can get on the on his high horse and be like, yeah, you're being irresponsible, like you're not balancing your work life like very well. It's like, yo, Peter, you are the worst. Like, how are you gonna talk? But I guess Daredevil's doing like absurd,
right? Like at least like he's a lawyer, right? At least he graduated college, bro. You can't pay your rent. Fix your own life, fam.
Yeah.
God. Peter trying to pay rent will always be one of those things that's just so consistently hilariously sad. It was even in the movie where he like was coming into the apartment. He's like, "Oh, the rent's due this much of the month," and I already know Tom Holland, Peter Parker isn't paying that rent on time.
That's gonna be very. I think it's gonna be interesting to see him in that role because Tom has always played like a little bit more of a happy-go-lucky, carefree type of role. I feel like, at least in like as Peter Parker. So it's going to be interesting to see how he decides to play that.
I will say though, Tom Holland's like physical age is super bizarre to me because I can buy him as like 16, 17, especially, you know, back in the younger days. But like the more buff he gets and like the more I don't want to say older because like that's not really like the way his features are working out when I see him on screen. It's more like the less 17 and the more 25 he looks. Does that kind of yeah. So.
I think
so at the end of the movie, I'm like, this is like, it's only been the next day. Why the fuck does Peter like look 23 now? There's something about him like having his own apartment and like just
tragedy ages you, I guess.
Bro, Peter Parker's basically an 80-year-old man. Then fuck. Overall, what would you give the movie though?
Out of like 10, probably 8 or a 9 out of 10. I'm gonna rewatch it soon, so I'll probably give like my definitive ranking on Twitter sometime, but like probably 8 or 9. It's not a 10, but doesn't make it bad or anything.
Yeah, I think 8.5, 9 is also good for me. This is a really fun discussion, man, and I feel really good that like we were able to talk about it for so long and you know have it be engaging because usually sometimes like. It's not like that I feel like we have to force conversations, but it feels like we definitely have to like stick to our itinerary. And this was like a really nice like
I feel like a more like natural type of conversation.
I think that more than makes up for there not being any Shonen Jump chapters this week.
For sure, yeah.
Which, you know,
that's like almost something.
Really heartbreaking about that. Because they didn't announce it beforehand, right? Because like I was like waiting for the new chapters the other day. And I was like refreshing my page, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I wonder why they're not up yet.
It's just, I guess, for the holidays they just get that break off, which honestly I'm cool with. Like whatever, it's the holidays. I can't, you know, I don't really work that much on the holidays. I can't. Well, that's not true, but I expect like people to take breaks on the holidays.
Yeah, me too. I'm just happy and kind of hoping that all these mangaka take like this time to really unwind, relax, and be fucking ready to pop off with a 30-page chapter when they come back. I think that's a fair trade. I don't know about you, but I think that's an equivalent exchange.
I'll say this: if Akutami gives me Megumi doing some new cool shit, I'm cool. It doesn't matter how many pages. Just listen. I just need it. Oh, if he gives me a double page spread of Megami doing something, yeah, this break gonna be good. I get it. I just need Megami doing something cool, bro.
What would count as something cool to you? Like
It can be a new Shikigami that we haven't seen before. It can be him bullying his opponent, like bullying Reggie. It could be him mastering his domain, like completing it. Like that would be cool. Like he's like, yeah, like I now have like either he's like he realizes that his master domain expansion doesn't have a barrier like Sukuna's, or he's like, yeah, now I have a barrier on mine. Like whatever. Like one of those three would be super dope. Or he's just like, like you said, just washes his opponent. Either one of those is super cool to me.
You know what? I think that pretty much encompasses all the possibilities of how Megami's fights could go. Before we get into our main topic, I just want to get two things off my chest. The first thing is I need to pause this so I can pee because it's like driving me crazy. Back from the bathroom break. It was really nice. Felt nice. I said nice twice. I don't know. I know words, BR. Okay, I know words.
I trust you. I trust that you do.
Thank you. But what we were talking about during the intermission was about the origins of our usernames, and I'll just quickly get into mine because I don't think it's much of an origin. It's just like a pun of my real name, so I thought it was like funny, and I went with it. For you, you said it's like ... I don't want to speak for you. You tell the story.
Yeah. I mean, basically, the name comes from I guess two things. So really, it's the name of a story I plan on writing in the future, right? So it's that. That name comes from just the fact that I like samurai, and obviously, not necessarily obviously, but what a Ronin is just like a samurai with no lord or master or whatever, like a wandering samurai, if you will. Takes a lot of inspiration from Rurouni Kenshin or whatever. So that's the name. It has nothing to do with something personal to me outside of the story, but I do really like the name. I think it sounds pretty dope.
I dislike samurai. I do because I don't find the aesthetic appealing. It's why I put off watching Bleach for so long. It was purely because I was off put by them wearing the kimonos. that was literally the only reason.
I think it looks, yeah. We just have to take hard different stances on that. I just think they look so, I think samurai just, whether that be in their armor or, in their more,
Oh, I think it's also why I hate...
the kimono attire. I think they just look super
cool. Demon Slayer, because it's just so visually off-putting to me. I just can't, it breaks the immersion for me, because it's a genre I just, inherently dislike. So I can't believe the stakes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess it would get what you mean. Just visually, it's unappealing.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I feel like an asshole for saying that.
It's just unappealing.
It's it's purely subjective. I know I'm crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's not really that big of a deal. You either like it or you don't. Some people are bound to like certain things visually. It's not really something.
I mean, the only samurai character that I've ever liked is Atomic Samurai from One Punch Man. I like when there is multiple skill trees or power systems within a certain universe because it offsets a lot of if I don't like this thing, it's not the only thing. So if I didn't like magic, for example, I just wouldn't be able to stomach something like Fairy Tail or Black Clover.
Whereas with One Punch Man, you can kind of
there's everything.
If you don't like one, there's another. There's
a whole power system based off tank tops in One Punch Man. We're not starving. Man, speaking of One Punch Man real quick, dude, I don't know if I've told you yet. I haven't. I've been on a tear this past weekend, dude. Because I mentioned this last podcast, I think to you or online, whatever. And I was like, oh, I've been rereading One Punch Man, yada yada yada, right? Bro, dude, amigo, compadre, comrade, BR. I didn't know about the fucking redraws, man.
Oh, you didn't?
No, nobody told me. I was reading all the old shit, thinking I was hot shit. I was yeah, I'm caught up to One Punch Man now. Come to find out, because YouTube recommended, what's his name, Zonin's video about it. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean redraws? And it sent me down this 3-hour anger spiral that I'm still not totally over, by the way. And I also found out about the audiobooks. Nobody told me about any of this shit, man. And I was seething, dude. I poured over every single Reddit post I can find, and I got so mad. You know when you get mad, you get so mad you hear your own heart, you hear your own heartbeat when you're stationary? Yeah. Bro, I was seething anger. And so I couldn't find exactly the answers that I wanted to my many questions. So I go on the One Punch Man Reddit and I'm and I just make this massive post. I'm hey guys, here's my question dump. give me answers. But like I had to say it nicely so I wouldn't get booted off by the mods. So
Yeah.
thankfully everybody on there was super nice. They explained it to me, and I spent like the entirety of yesterday catching up on the new canon. The what do you call it? The audiobooks are next, because like obviously I have to like find them translated, which is kind of difficult because they're originally in Japanese. But like, dude, I'm gonna say this explicitly one more fucking time for everybody listening. I fucking love One Punch Man. It is my literal favorite series, right? Like it is to this day the only manga series I have ever physically collected, and I want it to stay that way for a while. I fucking it is what it, like if I can give up every other manga or anime, like for One Punch Man, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Like if it meant just like having that forever, like that would be my choice. Like that is how much I love One Punch Man. Sorry, like to explode like that, but like
You're good.
yeah, so it's like to find out there was like this massive gap in my knowledge was like an insult to my honor almost. And you know, my love for One Punch Man is like ironically why I have such a hard time making videos about it, or like trying to conceptualize videos to make about it, because I feel like whatever I do would never be like, I'd never be able to do the original thing justice. And on top of that, like the greedier side of me is like, if I make a One Punch Man video and it's like a 10 out of 10, I literally think I might quit YouTube. Like no cap. Like I don't know if I'd be able to handle that.
Yeah, I definitely feel similar with like some of my favorite series. Like I feel like I can't speak on them with enough quality to like justify it. Like it almost is like disrespectful to talk about it not perfectly.
Yeah,
I
right.
guess if that makes sense.
Like we're with like certain manga or like certain series, I'm like, yeah, I know enough to like do whatever on it. Like with Bleach, dude, I just popped off my video after like my first or second go through of the series. I was like perfectly content with that. And with One Punch Man, it's just this like massive exception to me, because I just can't bring myself to do it, and I almost want to like force myself to do it in the new year. I think it might be one of my like resolutions, which actually leads us to the main topic of the episode, which by the way, I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that transition.
Nice segue.
Thank you. So 2021, complicated year for many reasons. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Hey, you can go first.
Okay, so the way I want to do this is I want to have the first half be a reflective look on 2021, and then the second half to be like a future look on 2022, like beyond the horizon, right? Like resolutions and stuff you want to do moving forward for the new year and all that. So for me, my 2021 was so complicated. Like I almost feel okay. Where to start? I'm gonna do this a little backwards. So a couple of weeks ago, like maybe a week and a half ago, I go on my channel and I decide to private like 30 videos, and now I've gone from 55 public videos to about 32 as of right now, as of recording this episode of the podcast. Right now, there's a reason for that, and there's a reason it was so many. So the first thing that you guys have to keep in mind, to the people listening, is that I wasn't originally an AniTuber. I was originally like a tech YouTuber, and when I made that transition because of like the Gon video and Hunter x Hunter in general, I decided it would be best to have the tech videos still be up there, because at the time I was still under the I was working under the assumption of if I make one tech video and one anime video, I can kind of like capture both audiences. But you know, VR, there's like an inherent flaw. That's not how it works, because you end up losing both of them.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Yeah, and it took me a long time to realize that. And my Gon video wasn't my most popular video yet. It was on track, but it wasn't like totally there. It was enough for me to like to tell me to still like bear with the type of content, but not enough for me to commit to it. Right, so I was still putting out like earbud reviews, for example, and it was like that for a lot of time. And 2020, you know, some personal stuff happened. I moved. I had like an operation. It was like a whole thing. So come the end of the year, Gon video popped off like crazy, right? And my channel was like now getting this huge influx of like Hunter x Hunter fans and anime fans in general, right? So I was like, okay, this seems like a good sign that I should stop with the tech stuff, right? And like really focus my energy on the thing that I actually like making too, because I was like super burnt out, dude, like of the tech videos. I hated making them. They were a chore to make and legitimately like miserable existence to make them. I don't know how tech YouTubers do it without hating every like waking moment of it, but it was awful. You are beholden to the releases of all these giant corporations. The items are just so expensive, and like if it doesn't get views, it's so not sustainable to be like an independent small tech YouTuber. Like especially if you want to do something like smartphones. Like I had to do earbuds because that was like all I can manage. But like yeah, if anybody out there wanted to be a tech YouTuber, there's my raving endorsement of the genre.
Huh.
So with that in mind, I was like fully committed to the anime thing, right? And at the time, I had just finished watching Fairy Tail, so I made a couple Fairy Tail videos because it was like top of mind for me. In retrospect, I actually don't regret making them, but at the time, I was like, fuck, these videos are underperforming. They're like the people are not engaging with like all my other like non Hunter x Hunter videos, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just like try to commit to more Hunter x Hunter content to like balance it out. So then I started, making the tier lists and all that stuff, and I think with all of that happening and it kind of combining with future videos, like let me pull up my channel right now. I like forgot my own videos, low-key. But with videos like the What Did Hisoka Whisper to Botaro, the tier list, the Avatar The Last Airbender thing, the Fairy Tail videos, and some meme reviews and other Hunter x Hunter content that I tried out. I made a Hunter x Hunter simp tier list, bro. That's like how in the weeds I got with Hunter x Hunter content. I decided to take like a break from it because I was getting exhausted on Hunter x Hunter content, right? And I was like, well, at some point, I have to take a break from me, right? And it was like the end of 2020, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just take the rest of the month off, kind of like what I'm doing now, and I'll just like come back swinging in January. So that January, I got really, really into Ouran High School Host Club. It was like the thing that I was like into at the time. And I was like, yeah, this will be like good for my comeback video, right? And also, I haven't made a video in like 2 to 3 months at this point. I accidentally overshot it, and I'm rusty as hell. So if I just make a video, then I've made a video, right? And I made it, and I'll be real, dude, I'm not totally proud of this video. Like, even at the time, I was just happy it existed, but it took me days to make a 5-minute and 45-second video. Days, dude. That's how out of practice I was.
Yeah.
And from there, I was like, well, fuck. I guess I fell off the anime train now. Guess I can just like do whatever I want. All bets are off. So that's where we get into the first half of my 2021. Do you remember WandaVision?
I do. I remember seeing a video you made. You made that on your channel, right?
Yes, sir.
Maybe I'm
yeah.
tripping. No, okay.
What you don't see is that I actually ended up doing reaction videos week to week for the episodes. I would wake up at 5 a.m., sometimes 3 a.m. on the day they release, shoot them, edit them, upload them, and then go right back to sleep. And I did that for weeks, dude. And the views were so bad. Like, so catastrophically bad. I legitimately think that was, like, the 3rd or 4th time I ever came close to quitting YouTube. For perspective, I had 3,000 subscribers at the time, right? Do you know how, like, what one of these videos would average view-wise?
What?
70 views. Bro, imagine that fall off. Like, imagine, like, doing that shit every single fucking week, and you're like, yeah, this'll be the one. I'm on the trending thing. I'm doing it right. Garbage, bro. Garbage analytics, garbage everything. And I just kind of gave up at that point.
Yeah.
Like it was just a huge hit to my self-esteem that I just took another month off of YouTube. And in that time, what I ended up doing was getting into Black Clover. And like I really, really enjoyed Black Clover, and I kind of came back with a Black Clover video. And basically the gist of the video is like I had just spent 4 days binging Black Clover only to find out that the anime was ending. Like literally, that's when I got into it. And that video it was the first video that I made that cracked 1,000 views in like 7 months at that point. So I was like, oh, I don't suck. Was basically my reaction.
I didn't completely fall off.
Exactly. And so I'm like, okay, second wave, right? I'm now done with my semester in college. I've privated all these WandaVision videos, so as far as like people who visit my channel are concerned, I haven't uploaded in like 3-4 months. Fuck, what do I do? And another part of me was like, I can't keep relying on this anime shit like heavy, and we can get into that later, but I was like, I don't want to be dependent on anything, because I felt that with the tech videos, dude. I felt that so heavy, just being dependent on the product to like make the video, and I didn't want it to like repeat itself with the anime thing. So I was like, I need to figure out a way to make this channel about me, because like that's why I named my channel Kreams and not like Anime TV 21, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
like a personal brand type of thing.
Yeah, so like and I can get into like the ultimate goal of my YouTube thing, because I've had a lot of time to think about it when we were planning this this episode of the podcast, and I explained it to like one of the people that commented under this post that I made that I'll like read off later. But basically, I came back with this like new attitude, and I made a Patreon that I kind of regret making, because like I was not ready for like Patreon fucking output, dude. I just got off like not making like videos for a while. Like I was not ready for Patreon. I'm a fucking idiot. But yeah. So I made this like vloggy style video explaining the Patreon. It was mostly just like a proof of concept video to myself, just to see if I can make that kind of video with like the tools I have, to see if I could. And I made it, and this was around the time I got really into Hbomberguy. I subscribed to his Patreon because I was like inspired, like for the first time in a while, dude. In the first time in what felt like a year plus, I genuinely felt inspired to make YouTube videos again, and I can't thank him enough for that. And I'm tearing up a little bit because like, fuck. Okay, like he's definitely one of the most influential creators to me. I'll leave it at that. And I found this like spreadsheet he made. That's the one I showed you, so it's funny that it's coming around here. But I found the spreadsheet he made with like all his videos and like all his video ideas, right? And I was going through it, and some of these video ideas were just like random ideas that he just had. You know what I mean? Like if he had the idea, he just write it down. It wouldn't even be more than that. It'd just be like a little note to himself saying like roughly what the idea was, to kind of flesh it out as like a note for later, and it would just be added to this list. And I'm like, my biggest struggle with YouTube, especially with being like an any YouTuber, has always been I have no ideas. None. I can't think of anything. So I can't make a video. And I don't know if I was just like making excuses, if I genuinely didn't have it, or if it could have been a million different things, but the end result was the same. I wasn't making content. And like finding Hbomb, getting inspired, and like getting, I basically just copied his what do you call it? His template for the Excel sheet to like see if that philosophy would work for me. And so far, dude, it has. Like, I haven't felt more organized, more inspired, or more like put together than in the last 6 months since like this Hbomberguy stuff happened. And like people that go on my channel, they could see that, dude. Like my output, especially these last 5-6 months, has been the product of me being somewhat organized. Like from the Bakugo video till like my Bleach video, dude, purely a symptom of me finally like having a semblance of like, I know what I'm doing, I know I can do it, etc., etc. And it's like I've been really happy with it overall. Like there are some stuff that I'm just kind of passively bitter about. Like some of my Jujutsu Kaisen videos aren't performing well, like evergreen. So I'm like changing up the title and thumbnail like a bunch of times, and I'm still going crazy over that. And that was like a real low point, but it wasn't as low as the other ones. So I'm pushing through. But that's like my short recap of like that grievance. But otherwise, dude, the last 6 months of like making YouTube videos have been my most fulfilling spiritually. And just want to say thank you, Hbomberguy. It means a lot. And yeah, thank you to my audience too for like sticking by me and all my shenanigans. So to kind of wrap things up here, the last few videos that I've made, like the last 2 or 3 videos, so the Bleach video, the Power Scale video, and the Morality of Grown Freaks video, they were an interesting change of pace for me, because they were all originally like 2 or 3 hour raw footage that I had to like condense way down into watchable videos. And I didn't realize that skill would come in handy for this podcast, but it did, and now I'm kind of used to it. And I've also realized like now I can make that kind of content, I can sustain that kind of workload, and I'm going to do like a lot of knocks for this, but I am better equipped as a creator, is what these last 6 months have taught me, and I am really grateful. And Yeah, I also want to extend a thank you to you, like personally, BR, because like you were also a huge part of like why I got a second wind with this YouTube thing. Because like when you said
I'm
yes,
super glad to hear that, man.
because like with that Jujutsu Kaisen tier list, which by the way, in retrospect, I consider to be like the unofficial pilot of the Honored Ones podcast.
Mm-hmm.
um, it was
Started
like,
it all.
yeah, dude, it was really fucking nice because I didn't feel so damn lonely anymore. Because like for the longest time, I was like in my own world basically, just obsessing over myself. Like I wasn't on Twitter. Like I was on Twitter as like a spectator. I wasn't tweeting. All I was doing was just liking and retweeting other shit. Like I was just too scared to engage with the community. And like uh with being with you, that sounds weird, but like yeah, has taught
Recording the video, having some camaraderie as a YouTuber, I think
yeah.
is what you mean.
Yes, support. Like you, Doofy, etc. You guys have like opened that door for me, and I feel like welcomed into the community instead of like from the outside looking in. So I really like that. That
Yeah.
also is like a big change. And what I think I don't realize until like I say it right now, or like most people might not realize, is like this is all within the span of 2 months. Like the first 10 months of this year were me going through all of that, and then these last 2 months are where things like kind of turned out the way they did. And to me that's just like so crazy because it feels like I never missed a beat. Like this feels natural to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank
Go
you.
ahead, go ahead.
Just sorry, I don't want to just thank you is what I want to say.
I feel like, was that like kind of like the first part, because you've been going over like the first part of
Yeah.
your year? I mean, I guess that's more the retrospective aspect of it, right?
Yeah, so I want you to do yours, and then
But,
we'll both do ours in the
yeah.
second half. Yeah.
Before I do that, can I use the bathroom real quick?
You don't need to ask me permission, dude. Just go.
True. That was more of a polite. Yeah. Whatever. I'll be right back. Okay. So how do you want me to do this? Go through like the first half of the year, then kind of go into the, I guess,
It's only
up to now.
yeah.
I guess
Just
there's a little bit of
relevance to you.
backstory similar to our
There's no
previous
structure
game.
to it.
Yeah. Got you. So a little bit of backstory. This is like technically the second incarnation of Broken Ronin, because of like September of last year, I made a channel with the same name, right? Similar style, like analysis, like review type content. But like I think I dealt with like copyright strike issues. YouTube like sniped channel, right? So I was kind of going through it after that, because I had like just hit 1K. I was just hitting my stride in terms of growth and things like that. And then YouTube was like, "No, you're not." So I was like, "Oh, bet." So it was actually around this time this year, right? I think I just hit my 1 year anniversary like yesterday or the day before that or something like that. And I made the video. Yep, appreciate it. I had the channel for about a year. Honestly, I think I have the reverse situation of how Kreams was. Like the beginning, like the first 6 to 7 months of the year, YouTube wise, were really good. I had like a pretty decent amount of growth. Obviously, you have to like I've done relatively well for the channel, in terms of like how much I've wanted to grow in the past year. Had some videos that have popped off. Had a Record of Ragnarok video hit 400K. Had a couple of Jujutsu Kaisen videos hit like 200K plus or whatever like that. So there was a point in time where my videos were doing really good. I was consistently growing. My views were like outpacing my subscribers, things like that. So I was pretty happy overall. And there was even 1 month where I think I grew like 8,000 subscribers. Nah, that sounds cap. Is that cap? I don't know. I'm trying to remember. There was this 1 month period where, I don't think it is cap. I think it was like I got like, what was it? Like 8,000 subscribers and like 800,000 views or something like that in terms of growth. So it was like, yeah, it was a really really good, it was very good for my growth, right? I think it was like halfway through the year or something like that where I had that sort of like really explosive growth. And I think what happened is after that month, I just put out like some videos that just happened to bang, right? Like back to back. So like they got a bunch of views, things like that. Like they were like somewhat evergreen. So like over months they were building up views. And it kind of snowballed until it got to that point. And I think mentally I was stuck on trying to recreate that moment or not necessarily recreate that moment, but continue that growth and snowball it. Which, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that still. It was very taxing on me mentally to have that growth almost come to a complete halt. Um, and I guess like YouTube kind of gave me a little bit of a wake up call. Videos started doing a little bit worse, generally speaking. Growth started slowing down until now, where growth is not, I can't say at an all time low, but it is low. I feel like relative to my size. I guess I don't have very many channels to use for reference, but I feel like be getting more views. Not, I feel like I should be getting more views. Not necessarily I should be pushing that burden onto like YouTube or anything else, but I feel like I should be doing getting more views, not in the sense that YouTube is like fucking me over, but like getting more views is in like I need to be putting
But
out
like a
videos
huge
that
part
get
of
more
the
views type
stall
thing.
was your move, though, so it's kind of out of your hands to
Right,
a
like
degree.
it was, and it was a lot of like my mental getting like messed up because I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, YouTube is very, very momentum based, at least in terms of my work ethic. So, you know, videos, if I'm doing well, I'm doing like if I'm
Yeah.
doing good, I'm doing great very soon after that, right? Because, one video pops
Yes,
off, turns
sir.
into like inspiration to keep going and keeping that growth go. But on the flip side of that, halting that momentum hurts bad, right? Not posting a video for a week, just a
Yeah,
week,
like
slowed down growth quite a bit, slowed down my mentality on making videos quite a bit, and it just
I
was
was just gonna say it's
very,
nothing like
yeah.
riding a
Go
bike.
ahead.
Like once you don't do it for a while, you basically have to like relearn
Yeah,
it to a degree.
and it's just like it's like you're trying to push this massive boulder up this hill, right? And when you take a break, all that momentum you're building stops, and not just stops, it somewhat reverses, and you fall back down that hill a little bit. And now you have to build that momentum back up. You have to build that speed, strength back up to keep going, and it's very difficult to do. Like I still haven't reached that point yet of like back to where I was, right? Um, like I guess my Bleach video is kind of an outlier to that. It got like 40K in the under 2 weeks or something like that. Um, but besides that,
So
I've been
just
averaging.
I don't know if like you got into it to some degree, but like what do you think happened to contribute to the cutoff between like the first half and
Mhm.
second half of your year? Like algorithm wise, like did you like make less content or did something change or
I think it was. I think it's a lot of factors that I'll get into real quick. So for one, the rate of uploads just drastically went down. In part because of you can say laziness. In part though because I wanted to
Mhm.
increase the quality of my videos, like editing wise. And as you know, or as really any creative person should know, quality and quantity cannot increase linear. They cannot increase together. They're almost unless you have like help from other people, right? If you're going solo like I was for a little bit, they increase like they're actually inverse proportionally, right? So like as the quality of my videos went up, as the
Mhm.
editing got better, as I was spending more time with the scripts and things like that, the amount of videos I could reasonably put out in a month just went down. They lower and lower and things of that nature. And obviously, when you post less, you're going to get less views. And I think honestly, there was not something necessarily with the algorithm, but when I was at the peak of my growth, what I was talking about Jujutsu Kaisen was very like it was
Ah,
at its peak relevance, right? Season one was at its peak. You were getting super cool fights. I was doing things like that, and after that, I was still doing fairly well. But I had my heavy hitter kind of go away, and I had to rely on like My Hero Academia and things like that. And those videos did fine relative to my sub count and things like that, but it just wasn't the same. And for me, as someone who had like super duper like high, like I guess super like big aspirations for myself, and like I guess high expectations for what I can or I need to do, having that growth like halted really messed me up, and it just de-incentivized me to make content, and it spiraled into this like catch 22
it's
where
not
like
gonna get the
I don't
views.
want to make content because or at least I feel like it's
Yeah.
not going to get the views, and I'm not going to get the views because I'm not putting out content, and it just caught me in this spiral of like like I just really am struggling to these videos. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like what's kept me afloat is like every once in a while I'll put out like a video that just kind of bangs. It's relative to my channel, of course. It'll kind of like keep me afloat because there'll be like dry spells of like a week or a month where I'm like, oh my god, like dude, did I fall off? Like did I mean, I was
Yeah.
thinking that like a couple of weeks ago. I was kind of like jokingly tweeting that, right? Like because I was trying to diffuse my real feelings as a joke. Oh my god, like I fell
Bro,
off
this
as a
was
YouTuber, but
like
like in my head
episode
I was like,
3 basically.
holy shit, like I actually might have fallen off. Yeah, yeah, right. Like I might have legitimately fallen off as like in terms of like views, and I have to like jumpstart it from the beginning, which was very scary. Then I'll get like a Baryon mode video, which will get 60K, and next time I get scared, I'll have like the bleed video, which got 40K. Like these videos will kind of like okay, dude, you got to keep going. You got like it's. I'm just waiting. What I'm trying to do now, I guess, in the second half, has been trying to cover because mentally
Washed.
I've just been getting
Yeah.
like just beat up. Yeah, just like bullied. Like it's just been my mentality has just not been the right one. I feel like now more than ever, I just need to put my head down and go. Like regardless of anything else, and just do what I know I can
Hmm.
do, my abilities, right? And just push out content. Like now this seems like this make it seem conceited or even unrealistic, but like my goal for 2022, this is a little bit of a hint, but I won't go super deep into it. But like I guess my perspective shift has been over like the past like month has been like thinking on like algorithm, all that stuff, and I'm still focusing on making good thumbnails, all that stuff. But like simplest way I could do it for myself in order to rationalize me just going in is
Mm,
better content,
right.
more content than anybody else, right? Like in my niche. So if I can do it better and if I can do it faster and on a higher volume, there's no need to worry about much else. And while it's an oversimplification of YouTube, but it's an oversimplification I currently need in order to get back in, like get my head back in the game fully. So I'm perfectly fine with that oversimplification right now, and it's sort of been like the first half of the year carried me quite a bit to this, and I ended off the year
Mm,
not horribly because I was able to hit 30K before the end, but like in comparison to what I wanted to do, like I wanted to hit like 100K by the end of the year, right? So like I'm like, what I completely botched that, and I'm like, wow, that is very that left a sour taste in my mouth in terms of my goals and things like that, which I think is it's a bitter defeat that I feel like I need as motivation to keep moving forward. So I'm gonna look at it as that, and kind of keep that perspective. Look at this as like a necessary step in the process to success. I'm no longer gonna look at it as like get down on myself or get depressed because those things like I can't speak for how I'm going to be feeling later down the line, but like my goal is to just keep pushing forward regardless of how I'm feeling and how it's performing because if I don't, then it'll
wow.
just snowball into getting
Um,
worse.
look,
Heavy? Was
man.
that too heavy?
No, it resonated with me like as a colleague, as a peer. And I'll even go a step further, like as a friend, in this space.
Front.
I
Yeah.
definitely feel and have felt a lot of the things you've described. We've had so many conversations about this. I think my philosophy is just a little bit different than yours, where yours is more like hard work equals results. And
Hmm.
I'm not gonna say I don't like subscribe to that because
Hmm.
it's like insane to not say there's some degree of truth in that, right? Like obviously, if you don't put in the work, there's like nothing to gain. It's common sense. But when we get into like the upper echelons of
Yeah.
nuance with this stuff, like I'm in the camp of like, well, making more
Hmm.
content is good in theory, but like you can get away with making less content as long as the title and thumbnail are good. Like my thing with YouTube is always just going to be
Hmm.
like as long as your title, thumbnail, and I don't know, average watch time or whatever are solid, then you can upload like once a year and get like 100 million views or something. That's hyperbole, but that's yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't I yeah, I don't disagree with that, but my like perspective on that is why not do both? Like that's basically I'm trying to like my thing is like I'm not trying to sacrifice and that's what I'm currently trying to figure out like how to meld both of them together into this like harmonic
Mm-hmm.
content creation machine or whatever, right? So like basically I'm trying to get, and it's somewhat, you could say it's unrealistic, but I don't really care. I'm trying to create like every video I want to be like one that bangs, right? Like that's the goal. Like it's not to just put out content to put out content. It's putting out content like every single one of these videos could stand alone for a month, 2 months, 3 months, but I'm doing it twice a week, 3 times a week or something like that, right? So that my growth is just inhuman, right? Because I feel like the logic using works perfectly fine. You're okay with growing at a certain level, but if I want to grow more than that, I have to do more. So I have to have the uploading capacity of someone who doesn't you have that much quality or uploading like volume, but also have the quality of somebody who posts once or twice a month. Like it does, if that makes sense. Like mixing the two in order to make something.
No, I get it. It's like to be rich, you have to work like you're poor.
Yeah,
So it's kind of
something
like
like
you
that. Like, and
having
it's
like
somewhat, yeah,
rise and grind work ethic, but like obviously have utilize the quality of somebody who is like who it has a channel of your size, basically.
yeah, exactly. Like always tackle YouTube as if I have 0 viewers, 0 subscribers that are dedicated to my channel, right? And attract them here and pull them here and make them like excited to watch it rather than just
You
rely
know,
on the fact that I have a following.
I think YouTube has just fucked me up personally to the point where I'm like, no matter what I do, I think it's gonna fail. And I don't know if like you have like the same
Yeah.
mental like parasite. Like for example, I made this post the other day on my community tab,
Mhm.
and I just want to read it out loud to everybody. I said, I've been seriously considering quitting or at least changing my approach to YouTube. I'm not burnt out or anything. I'm just kind of annoyed that the videos I thought would be bangers, in quotes, aren't performing the way I want them to. I don't hate making them. I just feel like I have to. Like my YouTube video making process usually goes something like this: I come up with an idea, I gauge how well I think it would perform or could perform. Basically, is it worth the effort of making it? And 3, I end up shelving it or I make it. If I end up deciding to make it and it doesn't get the numbers I want, I more or less consider it like a failure or like a waste of my time for making it. And
Mhm.
I said, and I'll be honest, that stuff kills me sometimes. All of this has coalesced into my reevaluating what I want from YouTube in general, and I'm not quite sure how to move forward. I'm not satisfied with my 2021, and I don't know if I should keep sticking with YouTube or if I should change my approach again. Sigh. Anyway, if you managed to read all that, yeah. And then I mentioned the podcast because, like, I always mention the podcast. But
Mhm.
I'm trying. There was a lot of comments of support that I really, really appreciated from my viewers, and like it was really, really sweet. And I just want to extend a shout out to those of you who commented on that post and are listening now. Thank you so much. Your support literally is like it's why I keep bothering to upload on this fucking website, basically. And it got me
Mhm.
it got me thinking about like my relationship with the website, and I got this one comment that really stuck out to me. The guy Mr. Bed Wars says, I personally wouldn't care about how popular a video is because your videos truly make my day better, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. That said, if you want to get your content more popular, then try doing collabs with other big YouTubers or make funny anime challenges. For example, something along the lines of the Anime Man's channel. However, I will stick with you no matter what your decision is, as you were literally the one that inspired me to start my Hunter x Hunter journey. Just do what you want to and don't quit. And I think by far that's like the sweetest, most like teary-eyed comment I've ever gotten. So I kind of responded to him, and I want to elaborate further on the podcast what exactly my end game is with content creation on this website. I more see the problem as I expected this to perform a certain way when I was conceptualizing and then making the video, right? So if it flops, I see it as like a failure to master my craft, not necessarily a failure on like a different end. Because
Mhm.
my goal for YouTube, in the simplest possible terms that I have ever been able to like distill to another person, because like your own motivations like better than anybody, so you never feel the need to verbalize them. But like for this one, I had to figure out a way to like get it across to other people.
Yeah.
My goal for YouTube is ultimately to have people interested in what I'm doing and for me to be able to deliver whatever it is that I'm doing in the best, most like selfishly profitable way that I can without expending more of my like energy than it would require. And I know that sounds complex, but like a good example that I gave this guy was essentially, if I roll out of bed one morning and I decide to make a video about cardboard boxes, I want that to be like the cardboard boxes video. Like, I want this thing to be so algorithmically perfect, right? That, like, even despite it being, let's say, like, mid quality or something, it just, my skill in the YouTube metagame is just so insane that it, like, basically tricks the algorithm into, like, making it like a 50 million view video or something along those lines. Like that's, like, that, it just, like, I want the ability to choose how a video performs of my own whim, if that makes sense. Which is, like, I know, I understand, is insanely conceited. I understand that, but it's just
Yeah,
like,
I get that.
I can't help that that's what I want. I don't know. I feel weird saying that.
And you want what you want, right? So, like, regardless of whether or not you think it's conceited or people think it's conceited, it's what you want out of YouTube, which I think is perfectly valid. It's not harming anybody. It's just desiring that your videos perform a certain way.
I just want to be able to be a master at doing it to the point where, like, I can casually do something like that. That's really it. Very long-winded way of saying that. So I'm curious what yours is.
Okay, so my version of like what I like, kind of like what that is for me, for what I want to get out of YouTube.
Yes.
So for
Yeah.
me, I mean, it's probably going to be just as, like, I don't know if conceited is the right word, because I don't think conceited properly describes either of ours, but it's going to be just as selfish. I don't know, whatever. I'm not even going to try to describe it outside of, like, actually saying what it is. Basically, I want to be able to put a lot of time and effort and whatever into my videos and, like, make these huge, super fun projects for YouTube, put them out, and be confident that even if it flops, right, even if it's a 10 out of 10, that 10 out of 10 just paid for everything that I plan on doing that month, right? Those videos, like, basically, okay, so let me give an analogy real quick. So, how Seth, and I don't know if you know, but, like, Seth the programmer and Clyde are making, like, this Naruto versus Ichigo, like, fan animation thing. It's, like, super high quality. I don't know if you've seen that.
I know about both of them, but I didn't know they were doing that.
Let me show you real quick, because they're like, it. I would initially think it's, like, not this super high quality thing. I guess, like, just based off of hearing that. But let me link you the tweet. That's just, like, one gif of, like, how they're, like, and they're planning, like, an entire fight, getting the actual voice actors. They have Ichigo's voice actor, like, his English dub voice actor.
Is he allowed to do that?
I guess so. I mean, that's what that's what that's what he said. He said he got the voice actor to record the lines.
Okay.
And, like, it's, like, real high quality stuff, right? Like, really, really.
Oh, damn.
Right? Like,
yeah, wow.
And it's been a project they've been working on for a super long time. When, like, honestly, one of the things I've been most excited about coming from a YouTuber or whatever, and not just, like, actually seeing the animator. That's already super cool as an idea. Like, just the fact that they're making, like, a very well put together anime fight between two characters that I really love is already cool enough. But the fact that YouTubers are able to make this sort of fan project, right, of this high quality is super dope. I would want to be able to do something like this on a semi-regular basis, afford it comfortably, and be able to, like, make YouTube videos off of this, share this type of content with people. Like, that to me is just a really cool thing. Like, it's a really cool concept to me. Like, making these types of fan animations, these discussions, like, this type of content, like the very super duper creative, high quality stuff, is, like, really cool. Right now, I just can't dedicate myself to learning that because there's the sort of dichotomy between quality and quantity that I have to put out, right? And I can't wait till I can hire staff to help me with this so I can do it high quality, high quantity. Like, neither of these are suffering, like that type of thing, if that makes sense. Is that, I hope I was able to convey that clearly.
Basically, you want to have, like, Broken Ronin Productions.
Yeah, and whatever creative thing pops into my head, right? Whatever video analysis, animation, whatever, I can make it, and it can pay for itself and for me and my work, and, like, the employees or partners or whatever you want to call it, right? That type of thing. And that's the end goal for me and my goal, I guess.
So from what I understand, your goal is super I like it. Like it's very much a I want to build this into like a Mr.Beast thing, but for like your content, basically, right? Um, is that like, did
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
it right? Is that
I
like,
mean that's
yeah?
that's a very elegant way to put it. Like the way he's able to just, I think, spend absurd amounts of money on ideas that are like very, very cool and like nebulous and like whatever. I would like to be able to do for like projects that I'm interested in, and have YouTube pay for that.
Wow, that is so weird. You and I like, because I was also envisioning Mr.Beast when I was like saying what my goals were,
Hmm.
but you and I took like want very different things from like what he's able to do on this website that
Yeah,
that are very admirable. But it's like I'll be real, I'm hella jealous of Mr.Beast because like he has the only thing I want, which is like absolute control over his content.
yeah,
And like there's the obvious one, and like he's able to make whatever he wants. He's able to like fundraise it however he wants, etc., etc. Right? That's not what I give a shit about. Like to me, like the hardest thing, the thing that no other YouTuber can do except for him, like the thing no other YouTuber has achieved except for him, is the ability to be like, this will go viral, and to have that like be a reality.
mm,
Like just that ability is so like that's my end game, dude. Like I want that so fucking bad. Like I can tell when a YouTuber is like on a leash
mm,
from the website. Like I can feel it sometimes. I'm like, yeah, your views have dipped. You're like making this kind of content this around of like you can pick up on these things because like you do it on your back end, so you like
yeah.
pick up on certain things, right? But like for Mr. Beast, I've never seen his leash,
Mhm.
and it like, and I've looked, dude. I fucking looked, and like he just does not have one, and that's like the thing I've always wanted. Like those fucking videos where people are consulting him, like he's this fucking guru, like they don't understand like what he actually has. Like they're so focused on like the big projects, the money, everything. Like they don't understand like the real thing that he actually has that's super insane is the ability to just like be in full control of a video's virality, basically. And I can't. It's so frustrating, dude. Because like, it's hard to see other people living your dreams, man. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's very inspiring because it shows, at least for me, it shows that that's a possibility. Like that is attain. Like that's not something that is like this pipe dream or whatever. It's attainable at least. Like however difficult you want to say it is something. It is an attainable goal, and I think knowing that it's attainable makes it that much more exciting to strive for. Yeah, I mean, I think that Mr. Beast is a very good example of that. I honestly can't think of anybody that's just like has YouTube on such a lock, and I feel like that's where you can see like the eight plus years of work and dedication and studying going into it. Like he just has a really good understanding of the platform. So from there, did you want to talk about like specific? Because we've been talking more about like nebulous concepts that aren't necessarily limited to 2022. Are there specific goals that you wanted to go over like for your channel in the next year?
Yes, sir. And I have them written down and ready to go.
Okay.
So here are my 2022 YouTube New Year's resolutions. So number one is the biggest one. It's 10,000 subscribers on my main channel.
Mm-hmm.
So we can talk about like failed milestones for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to take 2 weeks off in September to like plan out my future for YouTube, right? At least for the rest of the year. And one of my goals was to hit 5,000 subscribers by Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And at that point, I had 3.7, 3.8k subs, and I was like, if I grind this out and like I stick to my like plan and my schedule, I think I can do this because nobody's gonna subscribe if like I'm not uploading, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let me fucking put my nose to the grindstone, and, like, so I'm grinding the videos out, and like they're getting some decent traction, right? And I'm getting the subs, like people are subbing and engaging and stuff. But like I think it was my Megami or Sukuna video, I think I might have gotten too greedy and like asked for like a really highlight goal, and those videos still haven't hit even 1,000 views. Like it killed the steam that I had. You know the phenomenon.
Yeah.
After that, I decided maybe I should like do other videos or something, and instead of like these JJK videos like being so like heavy. Like the most popular one was the tier list we did, which thank you again, by the way.
No problem.
And then I got into Bleach around late October, and I was like, oh, I'll make a Bleach video in this same way I did the Black Clover video, and fuck me, dude. If those last 3 videos didn't take like a month, like each to make, basically, that's how long it felt. Like editing them down just took so much time. I just kept missing upload days, and so I just like had to forcibly, like, despite me not wanting to, push back the sub milestone goal from Halloween to the end of the year. And I thought that I'd have more videos to show for it in that amount of time, but you know, it didn't work out. And yeah. So right now I'm at 4,360 subscribers. Mm-hmm. So I was off by roughly, let's just do some very quick math here, minus 4,360. I was off by about 640 subs. Yeah. So next year I'm gonna be in my most, God, can't believe I'm gonna say this out loud. I'm gonna knock again. I'm gonna be in my most professional form ever. Mm-hmm. In that, like, the previous years, I've kind of been winging it more or less, and you know, this year is like the first year where I feel like I know roughly what I'm doing and how to do it. You know, again, knock on wood. Yeah. So I'm setting the goal for 10,000 subscribers on the main channel, and I'm committing to it. Oh. Second goal is for 1,000 subs on this channel, or like the podcast channel. I might rename it as like we go along, because I think a lot of people aren't subscribing because it's called Kreams 2 and not like the Honor Ones podcast. I don't know yet. But yeah, I want 1,000 subs on this one, and a supplementary goal is to get revenue for it so I can put it up on like audio platforms. Mm-hmm. So like that's like the secondary goal for this podcast channel. The third goal is 150 Twitter followers. Like I said before, I'm engaging with Twitter for the first time, and after like 2 months, like I actually, the only milestone I hit this year was my Twitter follower milestone. I wanted 50 Twitter followers, and now I peaked at like 70. I lost 2, and then I gained 1 back like today, so I'm at 69 right now. But like I peaked at 70, so I crushed my Twitter goal. So next year I'm on 150, and then finally, my last like numerical goal is to make 100 videos. Now, this one is actually deeply personal to me for a few reasons. The main one is that ever since I privated those older videos, I've had I feel like I've regressed, if that makes sense. Like I feel like I've lost my progress in that regard. Yeah, so my last goal is to make 100 videos. And one of the other reasons, aside from, you know, feeling like I've lost progress, is I made this Post-it note. It's been under my keyboard for about 1.5 years now, and it says open only after the 100th upload. And to this day, I still haven't opened it, and I'm not going to be able to unless I obviously get 100 videos. And I chose that because I saw this YouTube video, and I was like, I'm one of those people that like wants to like know how to do what they do, because like obviously my goal is very dependent on me being able to know what I'm doing. So like I want to put in the work in that regard. And I found this video where this do you know Roberto Blake? I think is his name.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he had this one video called I want you to make 100 like shitty videos, basically. And his intro was something along the lines of Mr.Beast made 100 shitty videos and he got like 70 subs. Marquez Brownlee made 100 videos and he got like 100 subs, something along those lines. And for some reason, it really clicked with me because, you know, if you were to take my entire body of work on YouTube these last 2.5 years, it's actually going to be 3 years, January 20th, so closer to 3 years. What you'll end up finding out is that I've roughly made, and I'm talking about like including this podcast too, and like all the shorts I've made roughly 85 to 90 videos. So I haven't even made 100 total videos ever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So 100 is a very big milestone for me, and I want to see if I can hit it. And I'm talking about like main channel only. So like this doesn't even include podcasts. Like I want like 100 videos. Yeah. And we'll see what the hell I wrote on this Post-it note all those years ago.
I think that'll be an interesting revelation for you, because if you forgot, you know, it should be interesting, I think.
Oh, I definitely forgot, dude. I have no idea what the hell's written in here.
They're pretty good goals. I like them. Is that it for your like 2022 like solid YouTube goals and stuff like that?
Yes, sir. Do you think I'm missing anything?
I don't know. I was just curious.
I think that encompasses it. Yeah. Like I don't plan. Like I don't like short form content isn't on there because like I just don't. I'm not fond of it.
Okay.
So if I do it, cool. If not, then I'm not gonna sweat over it.
Okay. So that's mainly what I was trying to get at. I was just wondering if there's any other platform like tangentially related to YouTube that you wanted to grow in order to like support YouTube, like outside of Twitter, I guess.
This podcast.
Fair. Fair enough then.
Maybe streaming on Twitch. I don't know.
Yeah. Twitch streaming will take a lot out of you, man. I will say that.
I know, but bro, like, streaming on YouTube is a little exhausting because, like, even though I'm monetized, every single time I stream, they instantly demonetize my shit. It's like I'm like, I've been live for 5 minutes. I haven't even done anything yet, and they're like, oh no, you can't make any money. I'm like, well, fuck you. Yeah. The fuck is the point then?
The only thing.
So I don't know. Maybe Twitch is like a diversification. So, sorry, dude.
No, you're just good. The only thing with Twitch is you have to like earn that monetization, and that kind of takes a little bit. I'm pretty sure in order to become like a partner, you need like I don't know the specific requirements. I just know they're not like super easy for like new Twitch streamers. And for me, unfortunately, the only times I'd be able to Twitch stream are like when people would be at like majority of my audience would be at like work or like school or something like that. So when they're out, I don't have time.
Yeah, like that's why live streaming is also not on the list because it's like it has to be within the realm of like A, my ability, B, my interest, and C, within like reality.
Yeah, fair. So I guess I can jump into my my
sir,
goals
your turn
for 2022. So I just want to preface this. These are very I guess you could say ambitious goals. I'm shooting for the stars.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah,
I can tell already. I'm locked in, dude. Right. Yes, sir.
So,
let's go.
So the first one, we'll go with the subscriber goal, right? So I kind of like how you did. I want to talk about like my failure real quick, right? So my goal for the first year of this channel was to be like, you know what, I'm gonna hit 100K, right? That didn't happen, obviously. You can look at my channel and see that to be the case. I'm still at like 30,000 subscribers or whatever, which isn't shabby. Only, right? But you know, I was like, I was super confident, not necessarily confident, but I was super eager to strive for that, and I kind of fell apart, right, in the second half of the year, which is whatever, it's my fault. I'll chalk that one up to the game. And I fell short of my goal by about 70,000 subscribers or so. Just a measly, just a little bit. I was super close to my goal. And I feel like the logical thing to do would be like, you know what, I'll reset the goal to get to 100K by the end of this year. But I don't really like logic over here, right? The Broken Ronin channel doesn't use logic, so I was like, you know what, 200K, 200,000 subscribers.
Bro,
at the end of the year. So that's I have to grow 170,000 subs, which is both daunting and exciting to some extent in terms of like shooting for that.
I could literally hear your smile as you say it, bro.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting, right? And that's gonna require a lot of work, and I'm understanding that. In terms of like videos, I want at least one of my videos to hit 1 million views. That just seems like kind of a staple as like a YouTuber, right? You gotta have that one not super viral, but like that viral video, right?
Bro, of course, of course, dude. I mean, can you imagine not having 1 million views?
Right.
I mean, that'd be real embarrassing.
Yeah, it would. It's super embarrassing, man. That's why I gotta set my game up.
Yeah, man. I can't believe that like out of like the two of us, I'm the one with that milestone. Like it's such a weird thing. I hit 1 million views this year, but like I almost didn't even notice because like that video is just consistently there. Mm-hmm. Like it's just the presence.
Didn't blow up. It didn't it did blow up, but like it didn't like explode like all at once. It was like this consistent like a growth type thing, right?
Bro, Doofy's been like I don't know if he's been like on a Kreams binge or whatever, but I've been getting like so many comments on like different videos from him the last 3 days. I'm like, yo, Doofy, if you're listening, are you okay? I just get like a bunch of notifications on like videos I uploaded 1.5 years ago from you, and they're like, oh, Kreams is a great video. I'm like, thanks first, but like, get some sleep, man.
Yeah, he'd be up at all times.
Yeah, well, he like. On the gun video, he was like, bro, I can't believe you have a video with 1 million views. I almost wanted to say me either.
Yeah. Let's see. So I had the 1 million views on a video, 200,000 subscribers. I want to post at least 2 videos a week for the entire year. regardless of anything. I think that how much does that equate to over time? Like bare minimum,
104
104
videos.
videos. So that's whatever. That's not even. I don't even think that's outlandish because this year, or at least in the span of a year, I've posted like 176 videos. So
What? 170? Like how?
at one point I posted. I mean, keep in mind at one point I almost posted daily. So
Bro, I gotta do this math real quick. 176. Damn, you almost posted for half the year.
yeah. Yep. And I want to do that, but obviously it's going to be more difficult because I have a higher standard for my quality now. So it's going to change up a little bit on how easy it is to reach that number. But regardless, 2 videos a week. Two things that aren't like, or more like three things that aren't like super numerical goals, like of milestones that I want to hit, but things I want to accomplish. One being mastering like my thumbnail style, like my thumbnail game, like have a style unique to me, stands out, does well, all that good stuff. And the other two things are hire a full-time YouTube editor. Like I want to still edit my own videos, but I want to hire somebody that's like consistently. I give them videos, they have it out in a week or two, and like a consistent rather than like because so far I have like commission work that I get them on a semi-regular basis, but they're not like full-time editing for me, if that makes sense, right? I want to get like be able to afford like a full-time editor alongside me, help me with that with the video editing load. And then the other one is hire somebody that's like or at least have a close relationship with like a really good artist that has a nice style that I like in order to get them to do commissions for thumbnails, whether it be fan art or like entire thumbnails that they draw up. Those are two things I really like to do, and they'd help me with my productions, like just in terms of like pumping out videos.
This whole like, do you still want to be like anonymous, or do you want to do like what I'm doing, where like you are the channel, or like you are the content, or like what's your?
I mean,
like what do you? What's like the final evolution of Broken Ronin content?
sure. So
if you don't
I
mind
mean,
me asking.
it would be relatively similar to what I do now, but just like in terms of quality, it's just okay. So let me put it like this, right? Okay, so like how we both like Hbomberguy, right? I've rewatched his videos like dozens of times or whatever. Like those types of
Yes.
videos, like those super in-depth, highly edited, well-researched, funny videos, right? I want to do that on a
Hmm.
regular basis. I don't necessarily have to show my face, but like those style of like video essay, but like those like once a month, sprinkled in with like the type of content I do now, but for like anime, right? So like imagine I'm like, um, uh, Hunter x Hunter sucks, and here's why, right? And I do like an hour and a half video
Mm.
breaking down like each arc. I'm like Gone sucks, Vanilla sucks, like and I like
Okay.
obviously in more depth than that, but like those like super duper to me like iconic videos within like their medium or within their genre that I think stand out among the rest. Like that to me, if I'm able to do that regularly, that is like the highest form of like what I want to do now, right? You know,
I see what you
I'd
mean.
have
Okay,
like
dude, I would love that for
that would
you,
be super dope.
because I think you can do it. You legally are like you're contractually obligated to have me feature in at least half of these videos.
Of
I'm just
course.
telling you right now, right? I am totally willing to do like how he has other YouTubers do some of the
Yeah.
voiceovers for like articles and
Hmm.
stuff. Bro, I better be the first person you text to do it.
I got you.
I'll take VO lessons. I don't care. I'll do it.
Uh,
But yeah, I was just curious because like this is gonna sound like super slimy, but that's basically the nature of this website. You're kind of incentivized to make a parasocial relationship with your audience to exploit them. Like I'm not saying like that's what I want. I'm just saying that's like the direction YouTube kind of favors for YouTubers to like get big on the platform.
yes, kind of. Like yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be with you, but if it's with your content, they associate it with you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So like having a healthy degree of separation there's a balancing act to it. So yeah, because like the thing that I really don't want to end up doing, and God, I hope this is like I'm gonna do another knock, but because I'm superstitious as hell, if you couldn't already tell. But what I'm super scared of is being in a situation where I'm like in the tech problem again,
mhm,
where I'm super reliant on an external factor to make my stuff.
mhm.
Whereas because I think it was a conversation with you a while ago. It might have been a private call where we were talking about videos performing a certain way because of X, Y, and Z, and you mentioned the Naruto Baryon mode video, and you're like, oh yeah, it was very topical, and that's why it got the views it did at like when it did. And I like, to me, like it would be cool short term, but like long term, like that is so not what I want. Like if you couldn't tell from like what my goals are, because like it defeats the purpose of me being able to control that. Like basically I want to have the effect that video has independent of whatever's going on in Naruto, right? I just want it to be like,
so
the fact that I'm making it is what draws the viewers.
So I agree with that as well. Kind of like you look at like I don't know how you watch Swakange a lot, but like even though Naruto isn't particularly trending right now, right? It's popular, but that doesn't mean it's like of particular relevance right now. Any Naruto video he puts out does well, right? Like 400K plus, like in terms of just like on average, like no matter what he does, right? In Naruto, I want to do that, but like with everything I touch, like I want, like you said.
Yes,
because
bro.
and it doesn't have to be like because you like me, but because you know that if I make a video on something, it's going to be a good video. That's what I want it to be.
Yes.
Like. That's I guess that's the best way to put it. Like if Broken Ronin made it, you should watch it regardless. Like I'm trying to do the thing where like, have you ever watched like a really in-depth analysis on like a game you've never played or something like that?
Yes, from fucking Hbomberguy. Yeah. Like my favorite video of his is Pathologic.
Yes, I love that video too. Yeah.
Yes,
I've never played that. I never plan on playing that, but that's fire, right?
I've rewatched that so many times.
And what I want to do is, if I make a video on whatever anime, you don't need to watch it, but you want to watch it simply because I made a video on it, and that's where I'm trying to get, like, quality wise and
yeah, bro. Like literally, I want you to like see my name in your notifications and stop whatever you're doing to watch it.
Or you like you're waiting, like you're waiting, like because I wait for like whenever Hbomberguy is like a video is almost out, I'm like oh yeah, okay, let me get out the popcorn, let me get ready, let me prepare for this event, right? Because I like his videos and I'm trying to do that generally with mine.
Hell yeah, dude. I would definitely like be in favor. Like I recommend his Patreon because like he just uploaded like the 3-hour cut of his next video already on there.
Oh, hold on. I might need to let me figure out I need to subscribe to that real quick. Hold on.
Bro, it's so fun, and like I did the highest tier because I wanted to be able to vote on the video he chooses, because when you do the $10 tier, he gives you 3 options, and basically the Patreon people pick whatever the next video is going to be, and I picked the Deus Ex video because I didn't like the other 2 options. I'll be real, it was like animation tools or something, and the other one was like, I forgot what it was, but it was some other pretty like fringe thing. But like I really like, bro, and it's shaping up to be his longest video yet, so I'm actually really happy about my vote. And also there's like bonus videos on there that I'm like super fucking happy about. Like he did this one about mirrors, like, and there's deleted scenes. Like did you see his Ruby video?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so there was actually like a 6 or 7 minute like thing he cut out of that and posted it on Patreon. It was comparing Ruby to Trigun.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, he has like a lot of cool stuff on his Patreon.
Nice. I'm gonna have to check that out after we finish recording this.
Hell yeah.
So we kind of like we were talking about like what my ideal version of like my content is. I guess to kind of talk about like, because this isn't necessarily YouTube goals, but it's tangentially related to my overall social media takeover. Is like it's like kind of related to like TikTok. So the goal for that is by the end of next year, 50K TikTok followers. And I want to put out at least 1 video on that platform a day.
Damn.
So there's that, whether that be a stitch or whatever, just a video with a clip, an original TikTok thing, or a stitch or whatever. I want to post on there at least once every day. And then for that final TikTok thing is like at least 1 video that gets 1 million views, which I'm guessing is going to be relatively easier than doing it on YouTube.
Dude, I got like got a TikTok with like 160K views on it. I made it in like 5 minutes, but like I don't like TikTok because I find it kind of soul crushing, and also the main reason I don't feel incentivized to do TikTok is because the conversion rate is ass. Like it's so bad, dude. You can make a video with like 10 million views and maybe like 20,000 people might go to your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And like, but obviously, like, if it's that proportion isn't like you're not gonna get 10 million.
It's a horrible proportion. Like it's a lot of people, but it's a disgustingly low like conversion rate.
Yeah, so there's no way to like do TikTok without having to be a TikToker on the side, which is not something I like really want to invest my time in.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, man, if I ever get enough money, like I'll hire a guy to like do that. But like I'm no.
Yeah, for sure. That's the goal. Like if I can get editors, like part of the editing thing, if I can get editors to take what I say on YouTube, clip it up for me, and just give me the video, like that's the job done for me. So
that conversion rate still be ass with like a video with like 100 million views or something. I don't know. Ugh. Also, I heard TikTok's payout system also sucks.
It does. You usually, I mean, in comparison to YouTube, it's just a fraction.
Yeah.
But mainly it's just to grow like my name, not necessarily they don't have to like they necessarily because a lot of people spend a lot of time on TikTok now, so I want to get that attention on me generally, like it not just on YouTube, not just on Twitter or whatever, but like generally build up the Broken Ronin brand, if you will, I guess.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you pulling something up? Or do you want me to go to the next topic?
We can go ahead and move on to the next topic. You're good.
Oh, I thought you were like, I don't know why I keep thinking that you're like that you keep wanting to pull something up right now.
Yeah, nah. It may just be me clicking my mouse, but I'm not really pulling anything up that needs like that. We need to like stop the video or like pause for. So you're good.
Speaking of pulling things up, the I guess final because dude, let me just be real with you right now. Loving this podcast. Definitely higher energy than last week. I'll admit I was like out of it last week, but like this week I'm like I feel it. I'm like I don't know if you're feeling it too, but like I'm feeling a vibe and I'm loving it.
I agree.
Yeah, and
I'm here for it.
Love the Hbomberguy fanboy moment. Can't like what a cool way to find that out about each other. Just very yeah. Cause like
I remember asking like for like video essays, and you were like, I was like, yeah, I've been watching HBO. Like, bro, I was like on my 10th rewatch. I was like, okay, these are great, but like I have to watch something new.
Bro, I wish I could dap you up in person, man. But some like small thoughts before I get into the last thing. It relates to it. It just preamble. I wonder how long you and I can keep going on this podcast thing without like knowing each other's like real names.
Yeah, let's keep it up. Let's see where the anonymity takes us.
I know, because like I know like I'm gonna find out your real name and I'm gonna be heartbroken that I can't still call you BR because I like the way it comes out. I think it's very natural.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be real. Like my like wish is that like people who listen to this podcast or like engage with us like at the same time, just like start calling you VR shorthand because like I think it'll be a fun way for you to be like, oh, that person listens to the podcast when like they're like in your comments like, oh, I like this video VR.
Yeah, that'd be dope. It starts becoming like a more like common thing amongst people. I feel that.
Good shit, man. I'm happy that I was the originator of such a brilliant concept as using your initials. It goes like in the end it'll be that and the Gone video as like my biggest legacies.
BR in the Gone video. That's funny.
God, that sounds like a YA novel title. But yeah, I guess my final thing that I want to talk about is this podcast. I'm curious where it fits into your vision or like how like I wonder if you consider it part of your Broken Ronin brand that you call. Yeah, just that.
I wouldn't say I consider it part of my brand because it's not like mine. It's not something that I can say, oh yeah, this is something like we're co-host on it, right? It's like our thing. If that makes sense. Like I feel like it's not something, and I didn't come up with the idea to do it either. So I feel like I'm here for the ride, if that makes sense. Like I'm here to contribute. I'm here to like talk, get my thoughts, things like that. But I don't think I'd consider it part of the Broken Ronin brand. I think it can be like part of maybe the Broken Ronin extended universe.
The
But it
BREU.
Yeah, right. But it's not like it's not the mainline thing. Just because obviously we talked about it like previously, like this podcast comes second as like a fun thing for both of us.
Mm?
Like secondary to our channels and things of that nature. But it's also to me, I feel like I'm able to decompress from the stress of YouTube on here. And
Yes.
I don't necessarily want those things to carry over. So like if I start looking at it as part of my brand or whatever, I think I would bring some of that stress over and I wouldn't be able to vent on here as freely.
Yeah, because like that was gonna be my follow up question. I was gonna be like, has this podcast like had an effect on you personally? Because for me, dude, it feels great. Like just getting on here and just talking for however fucking long I want without having to like edit it like crazy. Like I still edit it, right, for just like story beat pacing purposes, but I never feel the need to like, oh my god, if this part's going on for too long, I'm gonna lose the audience at this point, etc., etc. And it feels like I can get some of my thoughts about like literally anything I want without having to think, fuck, I have to make this more cohesive. I have to like overlay it with video. I have to make sure X, Y, and Z is happening, right? I'm just here, I'm having fun, and it's like a passion project. Like it just like
Exactly.
it reminds me of the feeling of the first time I made a YouTube video every single time.
Yeah, it's like it's quite literally just the at least for me just the upsides of YouTube without really the downsides because I'm not stressed for these videos doing particularly well. Um, it'd be good if they do,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if they don't, like I'm not stressing the way I'm stressing for like my Broken Ronin channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, just because it's not like that type. That's not the goal for it for me. So it's nice that I'm able to kind of like it's YouTube. I take a break, talk, vent, all that kind of stuff in a natural format, and we also get to put that out. So if it does end up doing well, there is benefits to it. But if it doesn't, who cares? We're just like venting into the ether then.
Yeah. And I will say, man, the effect it has on me is the same, but like it's slightly different in the in what do you call it? The prioritization aspect. Like for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
This thing has been like a form of therapy when it comes
Yeah.
to my YouTube anxieties because sometimes like for example last couple of video like oh no actually every single episode of this podcast has so far gotten more views than my Bleach video.
Oh wow.
I recently changed.
For real?
Yeah, and like I recently changed the title on my Bleach video, so I'm just playing around with that for a bit. But it doesn't bug me, which surprised the hell out of me because I'm like, man, I wonder like why this doesn't bother me. I'm a fucking drama queen. And then I realized the reason it doesn't bother me is that it's given me a sense of freedom that I've never felt before. Back when you remember when I said that like I felt like I was by myself for the longest time before like I got into the
Yeah.
AniTube thing. This has been like a steady version of that feeling. It's been like I can come on here and I can like be who I am because YouTube isn't holding the like metric game to my head. Like I'm not looking at the 1 out of 10 scale on this podcast. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel free to talk about what I want, like when I want, basically. And it's not a feeling I have with my normal channel. So in some ways, it feels like my normal channel has kind of, this is the realization that I had, has been turned into a burden than it has like a joyful experience that it honestly should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like fundamentally, that's what I think YouTube should be fun. It shouldn't be as soul draining as like a 9 to 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think because I think it loses what makes it so special if you turn it into that.
Yeah, so I haven't been working on YouTube videos. Like, I'm sorry to the people like who are subscribed to me and are listening, but like, I've just been enjoying this podcast so much more because I've felt more fulfilled, like spiritually fulfilled, making it than I have normal YouTube videos. And whenever I sit down and I'm like, oh yeah, time to work on stuff for the main channel, I'm like procrastinating, and I'm like, just this is not a fun experience is the thought that I'm having. And I think I made this promise to myself that like until I can feel that way about my normal main channel videos again, I'm just not going to upload. So like my new rule is going to be I'm going to upload whatever the fuck I want, however I want, because the one thing that this podcast proved to me is like it's possible. Like it's just possible for me to have fun doing YouTube again.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good realization to have. I think it's good sometimes to be able to vent those things, because if you bottle it up, I think that leads to you not being able to create. And I learn new stuff, or I'm getting new insights, like the spreadsheet thing we were talking about before, or like maybe in the intermissions when we were recording. Got the spreadsheet, been pulling it up as we've been talking. I like the way the spreadsheet is organized over my Google Docs.
Yes, dude.
And that's just something I wouldn't have learned if we didn't have this podcast in this thing.
And we weren't both big Hbomberguy heads.
Yeah.
Still can't believe that, dude. That was nice. I'm like
a great realization to have, honestly.
Hell yeah, dude. This felt like I think this was the most therapeutic episode by far.
Probably, yeah.
I'm sorry. I still can't believe your goal is 200K, man. You're really channeling Anime X energy here.
That's facts, bro. Listen, that's also part of that's like an implied goal that I didn't make, dude. Holy shit! I'm going to feel so vindicated when I surpass that, because I have screenshots, right? Probably a dozen screenshots saved somewhere, either on my computer or my phone, of people being when I first switched over, you're never gonna surpass it, whatever, blah blah blah.
No way. What?
And I have them screenshotted. So when that happens, and when I literally, the instant I get one subscriber over, I'm posting that on my community tab, on my Twitter. I don't know, bro. I'm gonna go wild, because you gotta
pin that everywhere.
Yeah, I'm petty like that. I will, and that happened that was said to be a year ago. I still remember it every day. I'm yeah, okay, all right, we'll see.
Bro.
We'll see who's right at the end of the day. And when I am right, I'm going to feel so vindicated about that.
This is the most rubbing hands shit I've ever heard, man. I love this energy, man.
Man.
So yeah, I think what we've established this episode is that fundamentally we're trying to impress Hbomberguy and surpass Mr.Beast. I think that's a good summation of both our goals.
Very realistic, down to earth goals.
Yes.
So it should be very easy to achieve next year.
Man, I always felt weird articulating that goal, because I always felt like I wasn't worthy to have it because of I don't know, my sub count or my video quality or some other factor. And I don't know, it feels good to not be told I'm crazy right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I've told people that I wanted 200K, and they're like, dude, hit 100K first. I was like, all right, you a hater. You not seeing the vision?
Yeah, man. You have to be insane. I'm on my Kanye off the meds energy right now.
Yeah, bro. I may be crazy, but I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm wrong.
But bro, I'm gonna be straight with you right now. No matter how successful I get, if you ever see me selling NFTs or some dumb shit like praising Elon Musk in an interview, I want you to know I've sold everybody out that I've loved. It's all over. I've given into the game. I've sold my soul.
Yeah. Sold your soul for success. I feel that.
Yeah. So this is gonna be me putting my future self on the line right now. I'm gonna be putting him on blast. So yeah, I'm gonna try to keep my integrity. And next year when we're on episode 59 shooting this, we can reference this one back, and we'll be did we hit it? Did we not? Etc. Etc.
Yeah.
And
be able to look back on that type of stuff.
Yes, sir. So closing thoughts or statements, whatever.
I mean, one, merry belated Christmas. Very belated by the time you guys are going to be watching this. Two, hope you guys have a great New Year, right? Yeah. Happy New Year.
Yes.
And I hope you guys are able to achieve and stick to the goals you have going to the new year, because I know a lot of times it's very difficult for people to stick with that. I recommend personally get someone who will hold you accountable, who will keep you pushing forward. Maybe even a rival. That's something I enjoy doing personally. Getting somebody near your competency and whatever you're looking for, and using them and them using you to push yourselves even further and to become better than you already are. So, that's probably my closing thoughts on this.
Hold up, you have a rival?
I have rivals of like YouTube rivals, plenty of them.
Name one.
The Masked Man.
Bro,
Well,
what?
he's a rival. He's a rival in the sense that like he's like that goal I'm looking towards. So
Oh,
that's not
okay.
like we're not close rivals. We're not like we used to be, funnily enough. But he moved on. Augie is probably one. I don't know if you know him.
I do. We talked about his
Yeah.
thumbnails on episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Augie's one. Because we're pretty close, I think, in terms of size.
Okay, cool. As for my closing thoughts, I just want to say, just thank you to everybody again who showed me the support on that post, who keeps like sticking by me. Thank you again to you, BR. Your influence on my life and on my channel this past couple months has like more than made up for like the first quarter, like the first 2/3 of this year, and it means a lot. And the fact that you even said yes to doing the podcast, let alone that first tier list video, has been more significant than I think you realize. So just thank you.
Of course, man.
Uh,
And fun.
yes, and I'll try my best to keep it that way. And I can promise you that the very first thing I'm gonna do when this podcast gets monetized is I'm gonna pay for a fucking podcast distro, because apparently putting an upload button on your own website is just too much work for Spotify. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not bitter. Whatever. Yeah. So everybody, thanks for watching, listening, viewing, hopefully subscribing to the Honored Ones podcast. We've had a hell of a time making it this year, and we can't wait to keep making it next year. Or at least I can't wait. I can't speak for BR.
We can't wait until making it next year.
Good stuff. And yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye. One day I'm gonna figure out how to do a proper outro for this thing.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting because I don't know how to do one either.